Hey everyone, in this next video I'm going to talk about building muscle in half the time, and I'll talk about different methods of building muscle, how you can do it in half the time, and should you wish to take another method of building muscle, what it might mean. Tune in, this is going to be important and helpful whether you're a beginner, whether you're advanced, whether you're a PT, whether you're a coach, if you're just on your own journey. Tune in. Hey, so today, like I said, we're going to talk about methods of building muscle within half the time. But I believe, because I will touch base on another method or two, that it might also tell you methods that are going to take a lot longer. And then I'll wrap it up and let you know, just to summarize the video. So, supersets are a great way to cut off your workout time by nearly half without the loss of effectiveness of you trying to build muscle. Shorten your workouts they can shorten your workouts by 43% when I did some maths calculation using supersets. If you don't know what supersets are, for example, you go and do your buys, and then you go and do your tricep, and then you have your rest. So you don't have a rest between every set. And supersets, doing that, you don't lose effectiveness. Now I'll come to the point of if you're always doing supersets in a moment. Straight sets where you have a rest in between can take a long time. Some people find it's boring sitting around for 2 minutes or 90 seconds or 3 minutes, depending on your goal, whether it's strength, whether it's power, whether it's endurance, hypertrophy. Okay, it depends. And you can start scrolling through your phone and your thumbs start to ache, and then you lose the time. So if you are a PT or if you're on your own journey, I always recommend that you can look at having effective workouts with all the volume you need to program well under an hour for your client. And if it's your own program, then you can do so. And this is what I do with my clients, but I always also switch it up. You could finally get them to train during, if you're a PT, you can get a client to train during their lunch hour, because now you've programmed what their requirement is within that 1 hour, which PT sessions are usually within an hour, and it suffices. If it's your own session as well, an hour suffices if you're doing supersets and for most of your goals. And you actually save half an hour extra. Now, this is not me and my workouts, but I'll tell you about that later. But that's the magic of supersets. They're really useful. I use supersets loads in my training. I used to heavily rely on them until I switched it up a couple of times, and now I'm focusing on getting more and more strength. And because for a while I was doing supersets quite a bit, I realized that I am sometimes catching myself trying to do another exercise in between the rest time. And I just suddenly stop myself because I know what I need to do, obviously being a coach. They're great because they get you in some cardio and stretching on top of the lifting aspect of spending the time in the gym. And honestly, we're all busy. We need to just get a gym session in that targets what we need, and we need to get out because we've got other stuff to do, as well as have a social life and probably talk to some friends. But research shows that resting 3 minutes between sets is better for muscle strength than 1 minute. That's if you're not doing supersets. So supersets are not ideal if you are going for strength, because it's more of an endurance and you do a lot more reps. But that's where your sessions can take a little bit longer than just, the 45 minutes, which then you have time for a stretch and some cardio, or 40 minutes and you've got time for a stretch and cardio. Let's do a quick maths, which I calculated. So if one set has around, I'd like to say 8 to 10 reps, just as an average. Let's not say we're going for strength very, very heavy strength. So 8 to 10 reps, 10 reps. Let's take the 10 reps. One set for 10 reps equals 20 seconds on average, right? Plus 2 minutes rest in between those, times 4 sets. And then you do on average, let's say 6 exercises within your session, hopefully. You're looking at around an hour. To be exact, it's around 56 minutes when I calculated it. And that's without your warm up, and that's without if you wanted to do a bit of cardio. So if you wanted to do a bit of warm up or warm up sets and then a bit of a cool down, you're talking at least another 10-15 minutes, so an hour and 15 minutes without any cardio. So that's the maths I've done, just for you to really get an idea that it could take quite a bit longer. I use this simple example in graphs to illustrate the point when I am coaching or educating PTs or educating within the industry. I don't necessarily bring up graphs when I'm with a client, because the client trusts what I'm doing. And if I'm moving into another area, or we're moving into different sets because we've changed our goal, we're achieving different goals, depending on the goal, then we discuss it. You basically need to program shorter and longer rests based on the exercises that you're doing as well, or your PT has in your program, and they should be worrying about that. And that's why it's great to have a coach for PT, because you just turn up and they're worried about every little thing. They have the exact weight you've done the last time, when they have to increase that weight, how much rest after that particular exercise, can that exercise go with this exercise, does it feed into where you have tense points in your body when they've done the assessment. There's a lot of things that go into it if you have the correct coach and PT. And I really feel bad to say this, but one of the things that drove me into this industry from the corporate world, from my own journey and just having a couple of clients or a few clients in my weekend, etc., from seeing me work out in the gym, is that I've seen, not only have I experienced when I first started my journey when I was chubs, that not all the coaches and PTs are great, even if they've got the qualification. So sometimes you just need to make sure that you go for quality over what you think is cheaper in terms of cost. And there's other elements in terms of your coach, because they really need to relate to you to get you to achieve your goal. And a goal doesn't always have to just be fitness, but right now we're talking about fitness. So that's when your program will be either longer or shorter, and the periods during the exercises you choose will differ. And there's not only just like straight sets and supersets, there's different sets. You've got around 7 different sets. I think there's a couple of more as well, 7 different exercise sets. So imagine that, but strength definitely needs more rest time in between. Sometimes you might just opt for straight sets instead, and also finish within the 45 minutes. They let you focus on the next set better as well. Especially if you're trying to lift a bit heavier or refine your technique and form, which is what I tend to do with the clients at the beginning. And some people just prefer it that way. I mean, the gym is important to target your goal, but the gym is an outlet and you need to enjoy it sometimes. That's why if you're having a crappy day, switch your workout to something you like. Do something you like. And so if you just prefer the straight set, it might be because of the results you've seen, it might not be, or you might just prefer to cramp your exercise selection and exercise session in without having too much thinking and mental anguish if you're doing it alone without your coach. But if you need more efficient workouts, then supersets are really like magic. And with the time, don't forget we need to add time, travel to the gym, getting changed, the stuff that we probably hate because we just want to get on with our workout. Sometimes we need to use suboptimal volume to fit in a session, especially around lunch hour with either for yourselves or clients, or you might decide on if you're going for a lunch hour. Some people use that session as a cardio on their cardio day so that in the evening they're free. So now you can get worse results too when you use suboptimal volume to fit into your session. And that's why it's important, like I say, a coach is good because they get what you need to optimally within that session. And the lunch hour can be tricky, and that's why I said maybe you decide to do a cardio session. For me, I could never, it stresses me out to think to go on a lunch session to do actually weightlifting. I could never do it, and I would never finish or feel like I've had a workout. But if you are struggling, you can get it in for 45 minutes. You can go in and it would be supersets or more or less on the endurance level. But you can keep your workout sufficient by using supersets, but it's going to be suboptimal if you're using different sets. So for example, let's say one exercise is the dumbbell press for 1 minute and then a 1 minute rest, and then you do exercise 2 is a dumbbell row, 1 minute rest. When you get back to the dumbbell press, you've rested those muscles for 2-3 minutes. Some of the same sessions can be done in nearly half of the time using the supersets, like the maths that I mentioned. And I can go into the maths again of what we just said about the dumbbell press and the rest and stuff. It turned out to be like 30 minutes of supersets versus 56 minutes for the straight sets that we mentioned. So as you can see, there are advantages to the approach. And I'd say they are more efficient training sessions. Extra time for training you neglect while stretching or cardio. Extra time to fit in all your training volume. More fun, more engagement, because you're just continuous. And if you're a PT, there's more fun and engagement with your client, and less time spent scrolling between the supersets. But the disadvantages, whether you're on your own or you're a PT coaching, is that logistics and equipment availability can be tricky, especially at peak times. You might have to compromise. Harder to focus on executing one exercise really well if you're doing like the supersets. Effectiveness is limited if conditioning is poor of your own conditioning. And by the way, check out the video I did in terms of conditioning training and conditioning. Conditioning is really important. It's around mobility. It's the foundations that can keep you going as well. I'll put that link in the below. So yeah, effectiveness is limited if conditioning is poor. With that video that I'm mentioning, that will be linked in the thing in the description box, you'll be able to improve your conditioning anyway. And just by listening to it, you'll understand whether conditioning is for you, whether it is a weak point, whether it's something you'd like to incorporate. If you've got a coach, you can tell them you'd like to incorporate conditioning training. And the other disadvantage is some people actually hate it. So that is the end of supersets, but not really about supersets. It's about building muscle in shorter time. And then we also talked, like I said, I'm sure I touched base on something that would take longer, a different method, like we said, straight sets, and there are other sets and strength training. So if you're a PT and you'd like to work with me for me to help coach you so that you can, get the best, you deliver the best to your clients and also enjoy what you do, reach out to me. If you're a client that would like to work with me on any goal you have in life, not only just fitness, I do coaching around all elements, even life purpose. But if you're ready to transform your body and your mind, I work with your mind and adaptability. even if you're suffering an injury, if it's yoga, if it's to do with healing, etc., a lot of it's on my website. You'll find that in the About page. Do let me know. I offer a 15-minute consultation where you can see if I can help you achieve your goals. You'll see my clients on there, and you also, if you see my shorts, you've seen me when I was in my late teens, chubby, and in the end I did it myself, and I've walked this journey, qualified in so many areas, so that I can deliver the best and make sure people achieve their goals. So give this a thumbs up, a like, and I'd love for you to subscribe so that we can grow this community. And I probably will start doing lives when we get more people on board, more interaction, so that we can just open forum of questions and topics really. Take care, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye for now.